Hello, just little old me again, back with more bullshit, attempting to answer questions from people who comment on my videos, subscribers, I assume. The first one was from Molana Bayan, who asks me, why do I prefer barbell lifts over machines? Squats don't hit every muscle. Well, I don't really agree with that. I think they pretty much do hit every muscle, depending on how you do the actual the lift or the exercise. What you do get from doing barbell squats that you don't from things like leg presses and hack squats is the whole body. It's a whole body movement. It strengthens your back, your core, hips, everything, and it'll give you the ability to do things like standing overhead presses, full range, from the chest, proper full range, which will give you a really good set of shoulders and upper body, which doing leg presses won't give you the strength in your core to stand up with a weight and do that. There's loads of reasons why a person would choose barbell squats, not least of which is I've just mentioned, but also the fact that it hits a lot more muscle groups, and it gives you more functional strength. Say if you have to do anything in life, any sort of manual labour, you're moving house or you're bringing a sack of potatoes in from the car, you have to pick it up using your legs, your back. You don't isolate any muscle doing that. It's an athletic movement in one sense, so why not train it that way? Obviously I'm assuming you're like a beginner perhaps, because it's basic, obvious common sense that you would do a squat over a leg press unless you've got some sort of back issue or some sort of injury that would stop you from doing it, which is fair enough, because we all have to start somewhere, and that's why we go online to sort of learn things and pick up information from people. So obviously I'm not knocking you doing that. It's just that this idea that your muscles work independently is just not true. There's always carryover from every lift that you do. So to isolate a muscle is really something you would do perhaps after you've done barbell squats, to create some metabolic fatigue in your legs by doing like high repetition leg presses or hack squats, as long as you don't do too many and inflame your knees or whatever. Because if you're a natural strength athlete or weightlifter, powerlifter, your ability to recover isn't unlimited. You'd be limited what you can recover from, so it makes sense to do an exercise that gives you the most bang for your buck, really, which is what squats are if you're taking into account your legs. Same for your upper body. You would do a bench press or an overhead press rather than doing 5 or 6 different exercises like flies or lateral raises, because you're hitting more muscles in one go, and it just builds more thickness and more strength over time. It's a bit of a no-brainer, really. That's why I think you sound like you're maybe just a beginner, which, like I say, is fair enough. But the next question was from Yanis Korobov, who asked me why I just do a few lifts. You'll just see me doing maybe barbell rows, squats or overhead presses, and he'll wonder why I don't do things like flies and lateral raises and things like that. Well, it just links back to the first question, really. It's about efficiency and getting as much work done in a short amount of time as possible, for various reasons, not least of which, like I say, is the recovery aspect. You've got to guard against inflammation in your joints, especially if you're knocking on a bit like me. I'm knocking on for 50, so I'm more likely to get inflamed joints and connective tissue. And as well as the fact that as you get older, your body doesn't handle volume as well. You can't do as many sets, otherwise you'll definitely overtrain and get inflamed connective tissue, etc., inflammation, which is not good. So the few lifts really is the most efficient way to train for someone who's natural. And on to the last question, which is from Ollie Yestreba, who asks, why do you lie about your P.E.D use? So obviously he's assuming that I'm actually blasting a ton of gear, as they say, like a lot of people are on YouTube who might do video logs, to get attention, saying they're on thousands of milligrams of drugs a week, which isn't me at all. I've always been honest about this, and I have nothing to do with that whatsoever. What I do have a lot to do with is actually suggesting to people, if they're of the right age, to start lifting weights and training for strength when as soon as they achieve maturity in adulthood. Some people it's 16, for example, between 16 and 25 is when you're in your peak. I've said this before, but I'll just repeat it. That's when you make your big gains. You can gain a lot of muscle mass, a lot of strength very easily because you're in your prime. After that, when you get to your natural potential, which, like I've said before numerous times, is 500 squat, 300 press, 500 deadlift for most people. Some people it's even more, might be a bit less for some, but these are basic numbers. You would maintain that strength through going to the gym week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out. Keep doing them weights, trying to get better. Very slow gains after you get to the advanced stage, obviously. But the point is, you're not letting it go. You're keeping moving forward, or trying to, right? Now, at some point, you're going to become middle-aged, right? And that's when things get a bit tricky. At which point, you have to really look at how you train. Include things like pause squats instead of regular squats, where they're not as compressive. It's easier on your body to recover. You can use a lot less weight and still maintain your strength at things like squats by using techniques such as pause squats, for example, in the bottom position, which will help you maintain strength, your max effort strength. Cut back on the amount of exercises you do once you become officially decrepit and over 40. Which is why I do just a few barbell exercises that affect all my body, because I'm acutely aware of the fact that my recovery is limited because of my age, right? It'd be too easy just to think, right, that's it, I'll just give up and just train for fitness. Whilst there's nothing wrong with being fit at all, and I do see myself as being fit as well as strong, you don't train for 30 odd years and just give up because you're a certain age. You keep working through it, and you have to find ways to train that will not get you injured or overtrained or broken down. Whereas every now and again, every month or so, 6 weeks, you can have a hard workout and still lift the same numbers as you did when you were younger, because you're training more intelligently. That's what happens when you become middle-aged. Obviously, your lifestyle and your food and everything else is much more important. I mean, it's just a hobby. I just do this for fun, but I don't drink. I haven't been drunk in debt. I can't remember the last time I had a drink and got drunk. I sacrifice a fair bit considering it's just a hobby, because I don't want to regress through having like a rubbish lifestyle. The way you train as you get into your 40s, you've got to train intelligently and listen to your body, right? And if you keep doing that and avoid getting injured, you can still occasionally lift weights like you did when you were 20 years younger, which is why I don't post that many lifting videos, because I can't do it that often. I have to have light workouts in between the show-off videos that you see me post. But people like Ollie here, who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, they'll see that and he'll think I'm doing it every day, which I'm not doing. These are like max effort lifts that I work up to, right? The rest of the time, it's 70% of what you see me doing now, or even less sometimes, depending on how I feel. So, this is what happens when you get older and you've trained a lot of years. It's got nothing to do with using steroids. It absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever. You try and keep your hormone profile healthy through lifestyle. We all know, various lifestyle practices can really affect your endocrine hormones. It's, lack of sleep, rubbish food, too much alcohol. You are what you eat. If you put rubbish in, you're never gonna. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been badly injured, I believe, because I've always given myself the best food I can possibly afford. Although I don't have an amazing sort of physique, I don't ever eat sweets or junk food. It's all food that's packed full of nutrients that's going to help me recover. So that has nothing to do with what my P.E.D stack is. As I've said before, you can take it or leave it. That's about the extent of it. So I hope I've shed some light on that one, because every video that I post, there's you know, like I say, at least 6 questions about that, and it's all based on the fact they see people on YouTube doing, you know, maybe a lot more weight than what I do, but in some cases a lot less as well. And you know, they're boasting about the fact they're using all these anabolic steroids and everything, which, you know, fair enough. I mean, you know, I'm not against it. I mean, how could I be? I'm not. But it's just anyone who thinks that that's just what all you do is do that and you get instant results is just, you know, they're either trolling to get a response or they're just, you know, completely ignorant. As I said before, anyway, on other videos about the ignorance, it's unreal. But anyway, that's all I've got time for today. I hope it's been at least a little bit informative and cleared up some, you know, shed some light on some things. If you found it reasonably entertaining, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll be very grateful. Until next time, thanks very much and take care.